Hello everyone, this is Plains and Felix and I welcome you to Kenya News Alert TV. Today I want to introduce to you one of the most prominent business people in this East Africa community by the name Dickson Kyaba, right away from Kampala, Uganda. Someone who has invested in cashew nuts. Yes, cashew nuts. You guys, you understand what we call cashew nuts? Sometimes it is better for us to go a little bit away from politics so that we can know what is going on and how is the state of the economy in the country. Let me take you right away there before he could board the plane so that we can get a little bit of the information. Welcome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Simba Jemedar and I'm here with the Executive Director of Cashew Nut Valley in Uganda, Mr. Kyaba. Maybe for those who doesn't know you, just give us a brief history of yourself.
Yeah, my name is Tukamusima Dickson Kyaba Seta. It sounds too much of a name, but you can call me Tukam Dickson Kyaba Seta. Tukam Dickson Kyaba.
Maybe how long have you been in Kenya?
Okay, I've been here for like a week now, but I've been here many times back and forth. I'm East African, so I've been doing quite a lot of work hard, but there's a lot of partying here. I see people everywhere partying, and same as Uganda, but I think Kenya is they're a bit wild, I think. I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, here in Kenya we call it sherehe.
Sherehe. Yes.
Bigger sherehe. Yeah, so I personally understand you're a cashew nut farmer. And if you understand, here in Kenya we have many cashew nut farmers in terms of sugarcane, coffee. So maybe why do you settle on cashew nuts? Why cashew nuts?
Actually, yes, you're very right. I lead the Uganda cashew nut value chain. And the cashew nut value chain is a presidential directive in Uganda. So that's the project I lead. And of course now we are in alliance with the East African community. So we have projects happening all around the region. As you know, the East Africa is East Africa. You found me here because I was in a business meeting in regard to the East African community and the cashew nut value chain. So cashew nut is a very high value crop. It's a very high value crop. It's one among the many. I don't know if you know, but cashew nut is about 30 to 40 times the value of coffee. 30 to 40 times the value of coffee. Yeah, so you can imagine what that means. And I know Kenyans know business, so they understand what I'm talking about.
So I understand this is first emerging as an agro-industrial frontier. So which high-value agribusiness ventures do you see as a game changer that can withstand regional competition?
Now, you see, for example, now, I've told you this is what I lead in Uganda, cashew nut value chain. I took up the job as executive director. Cashew nut, the global demand of cashew nut is about 12 million metric tons. That's the global demand of cashew nut. But all the countries which produce cashew nuts globally, Vietnam, India, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, everywhere, including Kenya, though it has failed, they only managed to produce only 4 million metric tons. That means we have about 9 million metric tons in demand, hanging. So, if you don't see that as, what do you see? Because even if they gave you about 100 years, you cannot meet that target. So people who understand where the global trends are going, they see, like they know that. If you see these people who understand business and how things are going, you will not really get them out of the cashew nut farms. So that's what I see as it's a high value cash crop enterprise. Yes, I know Uganda everywhere doing tea. You guys in Kenya, you are really doing very well in tea, sugar, but you see cashew nut. People should just find out. You not believe the value.
Okay, in your view, which low-hanging fruit in East Africa will maximize the benefit of regionally integrated economy? Which fruit?
Now, you see, the low-hanging fruit, of course, this is to do with earning. Now, you see where we are, we normally keep saying, you see, we are colonized, that's fine, they colonized us. It's not a good thing, but the low-hanging fruits which we can pick, first of all, we have an economy of the East African community. We have about 300 million people in East Africa. If you leave Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, DRC, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, all those are people. That's a very good economy. It's a market, actually. So it's a low-hanging fruit where we can actually send our crops or our products and make money, sell our produce. The second one is the Commonwealth market. If you see the Commonwealth, the European Union, Commonwealth, the market, because they use English. English is a common language, so you can actually speak the same language on top of your Swahili, and then you do business. So it's a good area where the European Union, having the English as a language and being a Commonwealth, having been colonized, as you know, we can actually, those guys need our food. They need our resources. The only shortfall is that they normally look at us as if we don't qualify. But we are a producing economy. East Africa is a big economy right now. So we can actually sell our things in the East African, in the European Union. They want the food. You just have to follow the standards, and then we have it as a market.
I understand that you have companies that are guiding the cashew nut farmers. So what do you see, or what should be done to unlock the international market access to cashew nut farmers beyond Africa?
Cashew nut farmers, people should really build alliances. For example, if you have a farm, you can't own the whole of Kenya or East Africa. So you need to really ally. And because you see, if you're farming alone, you're just alone. But if you have these alliances, like these cooperative entities, so because a cooperative is a very strong foundation. You can have bargaining power, a lot of things. So people need to ally. Even if you have your 1 acre, 2 acre, I don't know how many trees at home. It's okay. You can actually do the math, see how much money you can get in maybe 2, 10, whatever trees around your home. But understand the value of having like a cashew nut tree, macadamia. These are serious things, because if you see the resources around them, they are a big deal.
So talking about bargaining power, what can East African farmers do to strengthen that collective bargaining power beyond Africa? Because now we have to move from East Africa and beyond.
Have you heard about the AFCFTA? It's a trade, the African Free Continental Trade Area. It's the biggest trade frontier that has happened ever since the World Trade Organization for East Africa, for example. But AFCFTA is actually across the continent. We do have borders, but this AFCFTA is actually bargaining to break the borders, to do business. So if we can actually follow this, the AFCFTA, like the whole agreement around it, you want to do business in Nigeria, you want to come and do business in South Sudan, you want to go to Congo, and they are kind of broking you, a lot of taxes, this and that. Even when we have the EAC, they actually don't, it's like now, like you see in Kenya. Kenya has about 50 factories which are actually willing to process. They have been here since the 1970s, processing cashew nuts. I don't know what happened over time. The cashew nut, you were not producing. So Tanzania went far ahead. They now produce about 600,000 tons of cashew nuts. So they have a lot of raw cashew nuts. They don't have the industries, but Kenya has. Now, see the gap. We Kenya here, we don't have the raw material, but Tanzania has. So imagine if we had a regional integrated economy where Tanzania would feel free to give you the nuts, because they are trying to find factories, which you guys have here already. And you people know how to do business in Kenya, except that last year Tanzania kind of passed you. It went higher a notch, but Kenya is good. So imagine if we were in an integrated economy where actually we say East Africa, but it's really integrated. So you see, we would really be doing business.
So I understand that we have the regional market protection and regional market penetration and protectionism. So we have like countries like DRC, Ethiopia, East African countries like Kenya, Uganda trying to penetrate to that market. What are some of the challenges or the risks are there for the farmers who are trying to penetrate to the other markets?
Of course, you see, like I've told you, there are limits. We are in the East African community. You try to be in Tanzania, and the Tanzania looks at you as a Kenyan. You try to go to DRC, they say, please bring fees, pay taxi, pay protectionism. Then Tanzania says, don't come here to work, this, whatever job. Then you're like, man, I'm in the East African community, what's going on? So you can imagine such challenges. They will make people not actually achieve what they would rather have. So that protectionism, I think, is not in the best interest of the East African community. And I think people should realize that we really have been advocating for this for quite a while, ever since the Nyerere time, the Jomo Kenyatta here. So, I mean, you know what I mean.
So what are some of the policies that East Africa you are practicing that other regions are failing to replicate?
Now, I wouldn't say much about Uganda. Yes, we do have good leadership, I would say.
Apart from Uganda, that's
but even Uganda is not doing well. But if you see, like Rwanda, I think Rwanda in leadership, they are trying to do their thing
Yeah.
best. Even Kenya, I would say they are trying, but you see, leadership is actually what guides everything. So some people are doing very well, but you see, now like taxation, there are some excise duties which should be really not to be an issue to block someone, like these taxes, Kenya on eggs, on milk, on things, simple things, on timber. Like if timber is coming from Uganda, people are like, they have to put, I don't know, imagine these taxes. Taxes are like a means of, it's really not, I have not seen any economy which has developed by overtaxing people. Because you see, an economy should be helping people to grow. You don't overtax someone, because you see, a tax is like an extraction. Yeah. If you see like poll tax, all these taxes, it's like as if an economy is trying to find a way of like a scapegoat of making money. If you see like other economies like these Chinese, they have state companies which actually make money in the name of the government. So they actually make money than actually taxing people. Because if you want to tax me, why don't you let me first do business? I make enough money, then you tax me later if you feel like you need to tax me. But you see, before they get there, a lot of taxes, excise duties, people will not actually do business. So you'll end up being taxed, and that's all you do. So those are really blockages which we should...
I understand taxes and tariffs are really slowing down the progress.
A lot,
especially for the cashew nut farmers and any other farmers. So what reforms would you recommend so that we can have the fast track full integration in terms of cashew nut farmers?
For example, the tax regime, those kind of things should be really removed. You don't have to be... If you want to favor growth and development, eliminate such taxes so that you can realize growth. Then later you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
So I understand East Africa is we have young population in East Africa who like to venture in this cashew nut farming and any other farming. But let me just focus on the cashew nut farming. What do you think the resources or the program that should be the government or the concerned party should prioritize so that we can have the youth who are majority so that they can seize something better or good to invest in the cashew nut farming?
Yeah, you see, youth are a certain energetic force. Right now, the East African community has about 80 to 85% population of youth. But if you study them, they are really in happening. They are just happening. Now you wonder if you're happening in these all go-to-do places, wherever they are doing music and whatever. But you wonder, are you really doing something back home which can actually add value on you? We had this Diamond Platinum sometime back in Uganda for coffee stuff. I remember asking him, do you have like a cashew nut farm in Tanzania? Because he's from Tanzania. The guy said, actually, I don't have, but I'm going to think about it. So you see, if these musicians had an idea of not just going into music, but do you have something that can build an economy? Because we don't eat music. People eat food, people eat, this is what makes life. So these kids need to be educated because this is money. I will actually tell you, if you study like Indian kids, these kids of these Indians, they already understand business. I don't know, their families, their fathers, they really, even if it's sugar, you look at sugar and industry, you think maybe it's a mess, but they are already there. This guy is actually managing a family enterprise. So imagine if we're also doing the same. Yeah, so it's not to say that they are really great, but there is a certain way they are handling things, beat after beat, and they are doing well. Family after generation, and things are happening.
So we have this outdated narrative. So how can you foster a region that generally embraces the youth-led innovation? How can you empower the young generation that is right now we have the Gen Z generation? So how can you empower them so that they can see the positive side of agribusiness? How can we empower them?
First of all, you have to acknowledge them. Know that they are young people and they need to be informed. Of course, you don't curse them. You don't. You inform them. Teaching, learning. There are some people who have learning disabilities. We normally call them. But even people you call to be disabled in learning, they're actually able. So you have to give them the patience, give them the time, but explain them on purpose. Be intentional. Don't be a leader who just thinks that maybe you will just cast them any way you want. Because come on, these are 85% of the East African community. So if you don't give them attention, to show them the relevance of actually doing an agri-business and what comes out of it. For example, I'll tell you about cashew nuts. I wish I had one, I just left them there. But a cashew nut, if you see, a cashew nut has an apple and a nut. You extract a nut and you get a nut out of the cashew nut. A kilo in Uganda now goes for 100,000 shillings. A kilo of cashew nuts. 1 kg. You go online and check the kilograms. It's a lot of money. It has a shell. Right now, these guys in Vietnam, why they are fighting to actually export our nuts, raw nuts, they extract, and that shell, they use it to make industrial products. Very heavy machinery, equipment, you know, industrial chemicals. And all these are resources that we just see going away and we don't question it, we don't educate our youth, they don't even know, they're just doing music. Doing music, you know, I mean, come on, man. We just need to think. So, and then parents seem to, I don't know, maybe they are overpowered by youth. They don't really go and try to engage them and question them. Maybe talk to them in a nice way. It's not like you, because I know you have maybe a son or something. Would you want to see your son going through what you probably went through, struggling some time back? So why don't you make him better? You do. Why can't you tell them? It's not like they are dangerous. Speak to them. Let them see the relevance. I mean, what do they eat if they don't work? You don't go here and you're dancing, doing music, and you think that's what you eat. No. There must be a way of doing business and surviving beyond a generation. Yeah, that's what we think. In me, I deal with them, but you know, I tell them, of course, I do by action. I have a farm, about 100 acres of cashew nuts in Uganda. I'm still going far, and I hope I will actually do more. So why not?
Okay, so for someone who is here in Kenya, who is maybe planning to start okay, maybe you can encourage somebody who has a farm, but he has nothing to do with that farm. What can you tell that person? Maybe if you can convince that person to start cashew nut farming, and what are the challenges he's likely to face as a new farmer in the cashew nut industry?
In farming, like any farming, there will be challenges. But you see, good agricultural practices exist to teach you. You don't, a cashew nut tree bears fruit, money. But you see, for something you expect to actually give you money, you must take care of it. So good agricultural practices are a must. They must be done. In other words, you must be a farmer. You must be willing to do farm. You don't plant a tree and you run away. No, it's not wild. I mean, it can be wild, but why not take care of it? But if you check how the returns come, they really favor you. They really favor your interest. So I don't see even a way of, because it's deriving an interest. Like leadership. In Kenya, what I know, since 1970, it's like as if cashew nut was abandoned. Now, I don't know, there has to be some way, like policies which see, because these are youth. You see, like cotton or cashew nut, like I told you, this is an agro-industrial agenda. It's not just cashew nut. Study about it and see the results. Like cotton. I don't know if people still do cotton in Kenya, but cotton is a serious business. Cotton, it's an industry that can build a generation. Cotton, if you see the jobs around it. You see coffee and tea, we talk about it. Yes, we are doing it. But you see, if you see the trade of coffee, it's like you come here and have a cup of coffee. It's like as if it's a trade in, maybe in Forex, like exchanging Forex. But it's not really serious, but they are crops. If you see like sugarcane, it's an industry. So, I mean, who do you think will do this industry if you don't put these children there? You see, these are innovative things. When they talk about innovation, it's not like you go to heaven. No. These things are here. There are resources. There is oil. I mean, I don't want to keep talking about such. We just see what we have to do. But me, I believe in agro-industrialization because we are all Africans. We are rich. Why not? It's just about working on our farms and see what comes out. Because if you have your 50 acres, how about you come into a collaborated, associated effort and you do a contract farming? A contract farming means you agree to manage your 50 acres and they tell you how much money they give you per harvest. You have money. In Tanzania, a cashew nut farm is like...
you have mentioned you have 100 acres in Uganda.
Yes.
For example, what profit can you make in 100 acres in Uganda after you have deducted the input?
No, I haven't actually started harvesting, but I've seen others who are harvesting. That's why I was very encouraged. But I already know that a tree of cashew nut can give you about 50 million shillings a year. A tree of cashew nut at a bearable, like a 6-year there, can give you about 40-50 million shillings from harvest.
What's the
yes,
average
twice,
of,
harvest twice a year.
maturity of cashew nut? For example, if planted this time, like what's the maturity time? Maybe
If you plant now, actually an acre, yeah, like an acre of cashew nut. If you plant now, you take about 2.5 years, you start seeing fruits.
2.5 years, huh?
In 3 years, we start harvesting what we call a commercial sense, to give you average about 9 kilos. So, of course, as you know, any tree that grows, the yield increases. As it grows, the yield increases. This is a tree which lasts a generation, about 100 years. You're harvesting. I mean, what else would you want? These guys are doing it in Goa, in India, in Brazil. They're harvesting and making money. So why not us? Why can't we plant these trees? I mean, it's natural. They do very well. I mean, they don't need a lot of water. There are trees which do not need to be watered regularly. You plant, they survive, you survive, and you harvest. Yeah.
So you can advise East African farmers, especially here in Kenya, because I know here in Kenya you have people who have some idle land, but they are not capitalizing on it. Yeah,
contract farming.
Yeah.
Contract farming. The seedlings are available and they are quite affordable. So why not? Why not? Contract farming. I see a lot of boards, associations, sijui what in Kenya, boards, authority, this, agriculture, this, association, this. What are they doing? What are the extension workers doing? Why don't they get to these people and tell them, hey, look here, Kenya used to produce cashew nuts, we have 50 factories, we don't produce anything, we have nothing now, and the market is here, doing nothing. Then they get to their farms. We need to think really, we need to act on ourselves.
Okay, as we wind up, maybe, what's your experience? According to your experience, what is the future of cashew nut farming in like 3, 4, 5 years to ahead? What do you think, maybe, according to your experience, in the cashew nut farming market in East Africa?
Okay, right now, West Africa has been leading in production of cashew nut. About 50% of the global cashew productivity has been coming from West Africa. But now, we've had trainings in East Africa.
Yeah.
We had Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan. There was a training here and these meetings with ASC and the GIZ. Yeah. We believe, because you see, Tanzania has shown us that it can actually do well. Mozambique used to do very well, but because of the political instability, it also failed. But all these guys were here. So now we are thinking in the next 5 years, if what we do is all gone and done properly, I think we'll be ahead. Because I mean, if West Africa is producing 50%, what about if we did all this together here in East Africa? Just look at it. Look at it and tell me. Yeah, we'll definitely hit hard. We'll hit high, really.
In terms of consumption, I've been to Tanzania. I've seen, I think Tanzania are consuming cashew nut compared to any other region in South Africa. Maybe, what's your view on that? Is Uganda consuming cashew nut compared to other regions? Because personally, I've been in Tanzania. I've seen them consuming cashew nuts compared to other regions. And what could be the case?
Of course, they are producing cashew nuts locally. Yeah. But Kenya and Uganda, they are the biggest consumers of Tanzanian cashew nuts, processed kernels. Yeah. If you did not know, just know it now. And even when you go to Kenya, they want more nuts, like more cashew nuts. The market in Kenya, you go in a supermarket here and ask that I need cashew nuts, you will not manage the price tag. So the market in Kenya for cashew nuts is huge, but the nuts are not there. We just need to go and produce. I need to catch a flight. Please, I need to catch a flight.
He's a very busy person. I've really paid for this interview. I had to come to JK Airport so that I can have our with him. So I don't want to take much of your time. Maybe
thank you very much.
Because you are catching the next flight to Kampala, Uganda. When you reach there, or Saturday or to Uganda. Maybe a parting shot, your closing remarks before we wind up this interview.
Let's be an East African community. Yeah, I like the vibe here. If you're in Tanzania, even in the airport, it's a bit funny, but in Kenya, it's life. So let's integrate. We do business, so we don't just integrate for social whatever, but business. We progress. That's all we are here for. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for choosing Kenya News Alert TV. Ladies and gentlemen, musicians, young people, just like Plains and Felix, what have you maybe learned from that gentleman? What have you maybe learned from that gentleman? Are we still maybe going to remain the comfort zone of music? Are we still going to allow young people to dominate without even maybe being so creative enough to generate? Thank you so much. I really appreciate.